Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Um, let's let's do our intros. Um, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Y'all already know. Super chats will be read out loud, and we are going to be speaking about a Kim from For Harriet, Miss Kim Foster herself, in her two of her recent videos. These were long form videos, an hour plus each. One was like what 1 hour and 20 or 30 minutes. The other one was practically 1 hour and 45 minutes. Um, One, she spoke to a supposed former red pillar, someone who has watched red pill content by the name of Tony. Um, and in the other video, she critiques the passport bros. Um, I guess this is Kim kind of, doing her doing her best investigatory, excuse me, investigating of the Black Manosphere. She's also reading the Richard Reeves book, from my understanding, although she purposely doesn't mention the part of him saying how women in society bench men um, that are not part of this kind of top or elite. She doesn't mention that part. But okay. Um, so yeah, the title. So the title is a remix of Kim's own title for one of the videos about, and she was speaking about Tony. First, let's address Tony. The young brother was far too conciliatory. He really thought this was a conversation, and Kim used him as an avatar to essentially say black men in the Black manosphere got daddy issues, and he let that happen. He tried so hard to be conciliatory that he came off incoherent, and Kim and her audience ripped him a new a-hole because of that, right? And it was actually a little sad to see. You know, she act like she didn't understand some of the things that he was saying, like when he spoke about how, you know, in relation to black men, black women are infallible in the black community. She act like she didn't understand what he was saying with that. Um, she act like she don't understand where the resentment comes from some of these young men who are raised by single mothers. For her, it's, well, you have this resentment for these women who you say, and she's specifically speaking about Tony, but black men in general. You have this resentment for these young men who you say, excuse me, for these women who you say were your backbone and supported you and whatnot. Maybe it's because you over romanticize these absentee fathers, and I'm kind of paraphrasing where she was going with it. And yeah, she act like she don't know that. Yeah, that's because these boys were raised by these mothers. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. These boys were raised by these single mothers, and they got to see how their single mothers moved. Right? Like, okay, the fathers weren't there. Cool. The mothers were. You yourself, Kim, said, obviously women aren't perfect, and we got to see how imperfect they are. Right? I mean, if you were raised by a single mother, isn't that you got to see some of the things about your mother? And for Tony's sake, he was raised by a mother and a grandmother, and you know that critique is real, right? I'm speaking about the mothers and the grandmothers critiquing these men incessantly, and how nothing is right, and how these women are infallible in relation to their children, their grandchildren, their sons and grandsons in particular. They're infallible. And Kim, and this is why I like having these, like, speaking about these particular people, because they're not dumb. As a matter of fact, Kim is more well read than I am. So she knows exactly what he was saying. She pretended like she didn't, though. Also, the title is me speaking to um, Kim, speaking about passport bros, and speaking about them like there's some dangerous threat and they're preying on these innocent, hapless, helpless women overseas. And what's going to happen is they're going to try to flex on these women apparently, and they're just dangerous. And so she essentially called on white daddy government to investigate the passport bros. So that's why I titled the title what I titled it. It's another black women doing the whole, well, these men are not engaging with us in the way that we would like. They're trying to find some type of escape route out of engaging with women like me who think we're better than men like this. I'm gonna speak to why I'm saying that in a minute. Um, and so, can we like start investigating them white daddy government? Because they're obviously a danger and a threat to these other women who they're attempting to get the hell away from us with. And Kim was 100% correct. Not that many black people have passports. Not that many Americans in general have passports. She was 100% correct about that. Um, Something I really want to go into detail about is Kim's conversation about class, right? And this pernicious thing in the black community, the class stratification, that's being exacerbated by some of our college educated brethren and sisterin. Um, and Kim speaks to this, and she speaks to how she's not going to date a person that makes money, but that is blue collar because of the class divide, right? And she's seen too many relatives and family members, women, do this, and it doesn't turn out well, and she refuses to engage in it. And God bless the women that do engage in that. Cool. Kim is right about the class stratification. Let's be 100% with this. And this is where Mr. Z comes in and says, well, I guess you're going to be eating vagina. Because we already know that more and more women are attending college compared to men, getting higher degrees, um, um, going further and further up. So I guess the unpartnered women um, that are going to be coming from these situations more and more for them, because obviously there's going to be women that partner with men that are college educated, and for all of the women that do not, I guess, have fun. Kim doesn't really have an answer for you with that. She's too busy being polysyllabic and verbose on defecating on black men with her cutesy ass one liners and her snarkiness and her condescending tone, which, remember, she's not necessarily being condescending, although she's being condescending, and she's far too empathetic, so she says, but okay, whatever. I guess that's what she calls what she's engaging in. Whoa, okay, right? So the Kim from Four Harriets, um, and it really sucks that Tony allowed himself to be the avatar for, I guess, black men in the black manosphere with daddy issues. Um, because black women don't have any mommy issues or daddy issues. That's for certain. And she pressed Kevin to see. I'm sorry, I said Kevin. She pressed Tony to see why he listened to Kevin Samuels. What was it about Kevin Samuels in particular? These women keep on pretending, and the women like Kim in particular keep on pretending like they don't understand why men listen to Kevin Samuels, right? Because who are we supposed to listen to? Women like you? Men like FD Signifier? No. Because that just backdoors us right back to, really though, if y'all would just adopt intersexual feminist ideology, then everything would be fine. You know that, right? It's really you and your internalized concepts of patriarchy. The same patriarchy that's perfectly okay when women engage in it, which Kim kind of spoke to when she was speaking to Tony. She did the whole, well, why do y'all feel a certain way when we judge y'all by these criteria that Kevin was judging you by, and when we do it, it's a problem. So once again, it's perfectly okay for women to engage in this patriarchal understanding of masculinity, but it ain't okay for black men to do it. Yeah. Ugh. It ain't looking good. Right? For someone who's so well read, educated, intelligent, but spends in an inordinate amount of time, making sure they get their little digs in, their little one-liners. Um, make sure you feel the snark when it comes through, right? Um, and the sarcasm. And she turns up the white scent. Oh, she turns it on and off, and when she turns it on, oh, she turns it all the way up, right? Don't ever let Kim from For Harriet fool you. She attended Harvard, and she know how to pull the whole "I'm this class of black woman," essentially white chocolate dipped woman, right? And she will remind you that she took Africana studies in college. Oh, she's gonna remind you about that. And don't forget, book in your face, book in your face, book in your face, to make sure that you can understand where I'm coming from, to let you know that I'm smarter than you, right? Let's just make sure you know that everything I'm saying is not opinion, it's fact based off of bell hooks. Bell hooks. Hey, nothing's funnier than watching black women try to throw bell hooks in black men's face. Oh, like FD Signifier said, she had a few bad takes. Yeah, that's it. Just a few bad takes. She wasn't sexist as hell and anti-black man. No, no, no. Excuse me. No, not at all. She just had a few bad takes. Just a few. Right? How was Bell Hook's sex life and love life towards the end of her life? Oh, goddamn, 20, what was it, 17 years, no sex? Something like, right? Huh, not looking good. Right? Not looking good. But Kim from For Harriet is perfectly okay. She's dating right now, apparently. So she'll be okay. All her subscribers, maybe not. Right? Maybe not. So Kim from For Harriet pretends like she doesn't understand the power dynamic in the black community, and that the black community doesn't have and she knows. She knows. That's why I keep on saying pretend. The power dynamic between black men and black women is nothing like what's been going on amongst white people. Right? Excuse me. Train tracks. And so the passport bros are taking their ball and going home. The ones that can afford it, because like I said, Kim from For Harriet is correct, right? When she says, these, most Americans don't have passports, black people in particular, And so these particular passport bros they're taking their ball and going home. Clearly, the Kim from For Harriets think they're better than you, right? They're more educated than you. If you're a blue collar brother, they definitely are not checking for you because God forbid, right? Because there's a certain class. They're trying to play out class a particular way, which is perfectly understandable, right? But you have too many black women that move like this and think like this. How does this work for black women? The escape hatches are like, where are the escape hatches? The white man, maybe? What, engaging in same-sex relationship, maybe? Right? So, I checked out both videos, listened to all of them all the way through. And Kim engaged in what she usually engages in. The white scent, the turning up her kind of class position. Um, she went in on Obsidian a couple times, right? Obsidian might want to check out the video because she's taking shots at you, brother. She taking shots, right? Like, your issue is that you've been undesirable by women like her, I guess, right? she took shots at Obsidian a few times, right? You would think she got a I don't know what Obsidian did to her or Sid, and it yeah, got stuck in her craw because yeah, she got an issue with Obsidian, right? And it's crazy that out of anyone, a black woman, like from my understanding, Kim, I never really hear her mention a father figure or anything like that. So I don't know where she get all this daddy issue talk about black men. Do you really want to have a conversation about daddy issues, Kim? A black woman want to have a conversation about daddy issues? You want to have a conversation about mommy issues too? I don't know if black women want to have a conversation about daddy issues and mommy issues, right? But Kim is engaging in what oftentimes women like her engage in, which once again is the snark and the one-liners and the making fun of you and the your mentors and the people that you look up to are defective and deficient because of course you're not looking up to the people I'm looking up to, and I'm definitely smarter and more educated than you. Here's another book in your face, a book in your face, another book in your face, right? And the way she dismisses and kind of poo-poos the concept of the black community being a matriarchy. The black community is a gynocracy. Or, for argument's sake, for her conversation, matriarchy. And what you're finding is men are saying, yeah, y'all could have that. Black men are saying, y'all could have. Let's stop talking about the black community like it's some one-to-one of the white society. No. There's been a power imbalance. There's been a back and forth between black women and black men. And more black men are saying, yeah, y'all can have it then. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And she speaks about these she you know Kim is not dumb, very well spoken, very intelligent, very educated, and in her own way she kind of does the whole dusty foot um non-black American women thing. She doesn't say it, but in her own way she kind of does. She kind of does the we're not playing the same game. I'm not competing against those women and da 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 da. She says it without saying it. The whole yeah, those of course they would be okay with dating y'all. Right? She does the dusty foot thing without saying it in her own way. And she speaks about Tony in a way where like you were looking for a patriarch. You found it in Kevin Samuels, but how is that black? That's not black women's problem. Yeah, and y'all inferiority complex, your insatiable inferiority complex, isn't black men's problem. If we're gonna do that, if we're gonna do the whole what's not my problem and what's not your problem, fine. Your insatiable inferiority complex isn't black men's problem either. Go get it from white men. Go get your self-esteem from the white men. Right? See, what makes Kim so dangerous is that she's another woman who's going to potentially sell off in the sunset. All that talk she's talking, she doesn't want to have children, although she can definitely see herself being married, but that's not the most important thing in her life either. Kim most likely is going to be married one day, have children, probably not. She's not interested. Okay, cool. And what of all of her subscribers? And in her video are just tons of women with this class talk. Also, the yeah, ooh, I tried it too, and yeah, the class talking. I'm college educated. These are married women talking crap about their blue collar husbands. These are college educated black women talking about how tough it is and the back and forth with their blue collar husbands. And you know the way black women speak about the black women like Kim for Harriet speak about men's insecurities in these spaces. The dinner party, and he feels insecure, and he's doing too much, and he's asking the wrong questions, and it's as if women are never insecure. So once again, the real issue is you and your insecurity, black man, because we're not insecure. Nope, nothing wrong with black women, right? Nothing wrong with black women. Black women are not insecure when we're white collar and you're blue collar. No, we don't feel a certain way about bringing you to the Christmas party. Nope. We don't feel a certain way when our coworkers ask you a question. Nope. We don't feel a certain way that we can't speak about this type of trip and that type of trip. Nope. No. It's always you who's the insecure one, right? And KW Dawn says, I would disagree. I believe it is a dysfunctional patriarchy, not a matriarchy or a gynocracy. Well, you got to take that up with the scholars then, right? With the BGSs and the Dr. T. Hassan Johnsons. Yeah, and thank you for the super chat, KW. Right? And you know, I I I listened to her speak. Um, as I said, the amount of shots she took at Obsidian, huh? Over the two videos was interesting. I don't know what Obsidian said to her in particular, if he ever did, or maybe he defined something that like spoke right to her, or yeah, because there's something there. There's a there, right? There's a there. And Big Kev says the problem with the story of black men fundamentally hate hating black women is that these women are unable what does this say, narrators their own story. I think you mean in their own story. Okay, I'm sorry. So let's reread that. The problem with the story of black men fundamentally hating black women is that these women are unreliable narrators in their own story. Serious, serious. And thank you, Big Kev, for the super chat. Seriously, right? And you know, the Kim from Fort Harriet's, once again, as educated as they are, as intelligent as they are, they're they're still attempting to protect a position for black women, right? So what ends up happening oftentimes is that they kind of box themselves in, and always this is why they have to have the conversation with brothers specifically like Tony, who looks like he's trying to have the conversation without an agenda, but Kim has an agenda, right? And so the conversation has to be with brothers like that, right? All that talk she's doing about Obsidian, have a conversation with Obsidian, right? All that talk she's talking about Obsidian, have a conversation with him. And then don't give me the whole, well, he's gonna have an agenda. You had an agenda, right? And TJ Hunter says they crapped on their men over the ability of knowing various wines. Male and Moscato, Merlot, excuse me, Merlot and Moscato. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, taking trips can't afford. I know that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. But once again, it's the recreation of, like, it's the myth of white womanhood. It's the recreation of a particular class that you either occupy and you want to perform this class position a particular way, right? Which is what I hear Kim saying, where I'm not going to sacrifice my air quotes happiness for just any man. I'm not open to just any man. I want college educated, which I don't have a problem with. I want white collar. Even if he earns less than me, she admits that she's okay with earning with a man that earns less than her, but college educated, white collar, because there's a the way she sees class and the way she wants to perform, and whatever trauma from the older black women in her life, and them attempting to make it work with blue collar men, and apparently it didn't work out so well, or there were certain conflicts, and she's just, I guess, she's not for it, right? And I think all of that is okay. Women are just adding more and more reasons for them to be single as hell. Those standards is, boy, right? And that's unfortunate. And she herself spoke about, being on whatever medication. It sounds like psychological type of things, but I'm not 100% sure, right? And I think that would speak to some of the things that we see from some of these women, and like they're, even if they're well spoken and they're educated and whatnot, kind of like certain social cues maybe that they're not well versed on picking up on, or they have to be on some type of medication to do so, right? And as I said before, what Kim engaged in with her passport bro conversation is the white daddy. These men are trying to get their passports and go overseas and have fun or find wives or do whatever they're gonna do. And I worry about those other women when they bring them back, right? Now, is Kim truly worried about the same women she low key just called dusty feet? She did not use those words, I'm saying, but she got real close. Is she really concerned about these women? Probably not. Will she feign some concern to get at black men? Oh, of course. Right? Of course. So her critique of the black manosphere, using the brother Tony, um, and how disingenuous she was about this conversation. There's an issue there. Then the conversation about passport bros, there's another issue there. How long did you expect black men to go back and forth with women like you, Miss For Harriet? You women like you have the ears of white society. Y'all have had it. Y'all have had the ears of white society. I don't know, since the plantation, but at least for the past 60 years, right? Y'all have the ears. Y'all, Kim, you are the Oprahs. You are the Terry McMillans. You are the Shonda Rhimes. That's you. Wait, so y'all thought y'all just was gonna keep on going in on black men over and over and over again, and black men's response was throw another book in our face so that we can read it and kiss your ass. How long was this supposed to last? And shout out to Alan Stranger for the super chat. Alan Stranger says she keeps saying what she wants, what she fails to realize that she wants doesn't want her. Her beauty and education card got declined. look, look. I will say that makeup. What them ladies say? That makeup was beat. Her face was beat. Her face was beat. Kim, whatever. I remember when I first started watching Kim, and I don't know if that's acne or whatever skin condition she has or whatever was going on with her face. But recently, yeah, she makes sure when that camera's on, the hair is laid, right? The makeup is heavy, the eyebrows are arched. Y'all ain't gonna make fun of her about her makeup. That's one thing, right? But apparently she's in a dating situation right now, so hey, it's working for her, right? What's going on, Nino? And I think what makes Kim so dangerous is how disingenuous they are, and and the way they critique black men as if they're truly concerned, while they take little shots here and there, and they pretend like they don't understand. For the for the life of me, the Kevin Samuels conversation. What's so enraging is all the people that pretend like they don't understand why men listen to Kevin Samuels and why women called into Kevin Samuels. They act like they don't hear the women coming on for a lifestyle. So y'all didn't hear the women just looking for a lifestyle, looking for a man to provide a lifestyle, and hoping that Kevin would give them the lucky ticket. So we just gonna pretend like these women weren't calling in for that. Oh, they had low self-esteem. Not half of them. Miss Kim, women like you have run the yard with the conversation because white society put a camera in your face and a microphone in your face for the past 60 years. Y'all have ran the yard with the conversation about black men. And you don't know why men were listening to Kevin Samuels. Y'all have run the yard with the conversation. Every single book, every interview, every movie you could touch was how horrible black men are. And you don't know why Kevin Samuels was big on the internet. Black women like you have run the yard with the conversation. So y'all was just supposed to be this type of verbally abusive forever, and black men were never supposed to respond. We're just supposed to eat that forever. Black men were never supposed to respond. Pick up and then these same people do the whole, when someone has privilege, when you take their privilege away, they see it as oppression. Y'all took that privilege for granted. Just running the yard with conversation about black men and how horrible. First, when Tiffany Cross said that, what y'all where do you think she got that from? That was a black woman news anchor who slipped up and gave you an honest truth for 5 nanoseconds. about how she know that black women like her, all they do is chastise black men every time they get on camera. She said it. But we're gonna pretend like she didn't know what she was talking about, Miss Kim? And then you're gonna pretend like you don't know where Kevin's support comes from? Man, if you don't get the and this is why your intelligence and your education mean nothing if you're not gonna be honest and have a serious conversation. If you're gonna be this disingenuous, then there's no point in you. Well, I forgot. No, there is a point. You gotta give red meat to the ladies, right? And y'all give me a second, I'll be right with you guys. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And so that's what makes it so it's see, we refuse, and this is how black women kind of slip this conversation under the radar. They refuse to have this conversation in public about how the power dynamic between black men and black women has never been what's gone on in white society, right? As a matter of fact, even Kim herself have been saying about she spoke about how black men have always been trying to tell black women to you're too masculine, you need to get back in the kitchen and all this other stuff. And she for her, black men have been saying this since Reconstruction, right? So the power dynamic between black men and black women has never been what it is between white men and white women. Cool. All right. So you're admitting it's been a back and forth. But black men are supposed to do what with that? Somebody's going to have the final say so. And what black women have been doing for the better part of forever is using white daddy government to put the thumb on the scales. Which, by the way, Kim, is exactly what you tried to do with this conversation about the passport bros. When you feigned like you cared about those same women you almost called dusty feet. Oliver the Gray said it's too late for Popeyes. Hysterical. I did not get Popeyes. Thanks for the super chat. Right. So if you're going to speak about how you're going to use Tony as a way to as an avatar to beat up on other black men in the black manosphere and say how black men have daddy issues, we're essentially looking for daddies, right? Black men in the black manosphere are looking for daddies. And what would you call women like you, Miss Kim? Women like you who are on whatever pills you're on, whatever drugs you admitted that you are on, who create the content that you create. What would you say? Where would you say you fit in? Right? And thanks for that, Oliver the Gray. Once again, he said BGS tax. Right? I know BGS was in here. I don't know if he's still in here though. Right? So I implore Miss Kim to have the way you were taking shots at Obsidian. You might as well sit down with the dude, or you just gonna do that thing that you're doing and just take shots at Obsidian from the kind of shadows from where you are. And how does this math work anyway? Okay, let's get this right. So more women are going to college than men, or enrolling in college than men. We already know by graduation that number even becomes even more exaggerated. And now the Kims of the world, the Kim Fosters of the world, they're also saying, yeah, and I can't date blue collar. Nothing wrong with that, right? So because of the class divide and the not understanding certain things and the way she wants to perform her particular class position, and she doesn't want to have to explain anything, and cool. And all the women that adopt her worldview, how is this supposed to work when more and more women are attending college than men? And that's not reversing, by the way. None of the numbers, none of the trends. And by the way, this is not exclusive to the black community, although it's more exaggerated in the black community. So all of you swillers and divestors who think there's some type of escape hatch out of this, nope. So like that's always my question for the Kim from For Harriets, the Chrissies, the Paris Milans, the Real Talk with Yannies. Okay, black men are horrible, but none of the numbers are in your favor as a black woman. What are you supposed to do with this? Because all you do all day is talk about how black men are crap, are trash, right? Cool. But what are you supposed to do with this? Right? How is this sustainable? Like I'm listening to Kim talk. I listen to her, but she's not. I'm not doing this, and it didn't work for. Or well, better yet, she if she didn't outright say it, she implied it, which is, she has family members who were well educated and attempted to make these things work with blue collar men, and it did not work. And she's not doing it. Fine, right? Nothing wrong with that. But like, how does this math? Once again, you got, it may not be a lot. You have the passport bros on one end. You have the blue collar men who you think you're better than on the other end. You have all of these men because Kim from Harriet said now she's checking people's social media to see if they know who Alpha Male Strategies is, and who if they know who Kevin is, and blah blah blah. And if they come out the mouth on some, I don't agree with him on everything, but I kind of understand. She ain't trying to hear it. So all right, so any man that doesn't have negative things to say about the black manosphere, so like then you got to understand, like, the same vetting process, unless y'all giving the white boys and the Latino dudes discounts, they on the same thing. They're literally listening to the same thing. So like, how is the math supposed to work for black women? Once again, see, when Mr. Z comes out his mouth and says, okay, I guess y'all just be eating vagina then, it sounds like a joke until you do the math they're doing, or they should be doing. Right? Y'all Xing off men on this end. Y'all Xing off men on this end. Then the man got to somewhat align with you politically. Then don't listen to Black Manosphere content unless you're gonna be with me making fun of it. Then there's then you got to be white collar, and then you have to have this type of certain education level, and then whew, right? Then this is this is way before we even start speaking about whether y'all even find each other physically attractive yet. We didn't even talk about that yet. So the question really is, how is this supposed to work for black women? Screw. All right, fine. And did Kim not say something along the lines of like she damn near got Tourette's when she's not on her meds? Or no, not Tourette's. I think she's like some type of impulse control when she's not on her meds. I think that's where she was going with it, right? So like think about what you're asking black men to sign up for. A sassy, snarky, mean, a-hole black woman who wants you to understand how horrible you are as a black man, how defective you are as a black man, still wants you to adhere to patriarchal tenets, but not all of them, only the ones that benefit women, while also not adhering to patriarchy. What? Once again, not adhering to the ones that benefit men, but adhering to the ones that benefit women, the tenets, right? And then pretend like you don't understand why other black men would ever listen to Kevin Samuels, would ever listen to black men in the black manosphere. And be perfectly okay with your girlfriend who has a YouTube channel and for some reason seems to have like this weird obsession with Obsidian, right? I see someone that popped up named Private Foster. Is that you, Kim? Because this to speak as if you don't understand, and let's let's put it out there. Maybe she doesn't, right? Maybe she doesn't. And Diaspora L says, you never hear these type of educated classes break down a KS clip, no matter how long or short, presents a scholarly sound critique ever. And thank you for the super chat, Diaspora. But of course not. I would love to see them sit down and critique the video of the heavyset sister with the chest tattoo. One of the last videos that Kevin did before he passed, right? Or the one with the 23-year-old who said who want to be with average anyway. That was snarky from the jump, who was rude as hell, jumped on the screen rude as hell with Kevin. Or the other young 20-something-year-old that pretty much said, like, we don't need y'all anymore, so yeah. Speaking about men, I would love to see them critique those videos. But here's the problem. They would have a hard time critiquing it because they would even fall into one or two camps. They would know exactly what Kevin was saying, and feel embarrassed that they agree with him, or they're just like those women, those young women. I would love to see them critique the video with the 40-something-year-old black woman that ended up trying to do her own thing on YouTube after a while, right? That spoke about she's 40 something years old, single, haven't had sex in how long, not in a relationship, and she's around a bunch of 50 something year old women who have pretty much resigned themselves to being single, going on day trips and such and so forth, right? And Big Game says it boggles my mind how the B Dub thinks she's too sophisticated for blue collar dudes because she drinks mimosas on Sunday and eats sushi. Bro, I mean, I think Kim's situation might be a bit different than that because of her YouTube career, and she was a Harvard grad, or a Harvard attendee. I'm not sure if she graduated from Harvard. From my understanding, certain people told me she didn't. But and thanks for the super chat, Big Kev. I said Big Kev, Big Game. Sorry about that, Big Kev. No, sorry about that, Big Game. I keep on calling you Big Kev. I'm sorry, Big Kev, for calling you Big Kev, and you're not the one who posted the comment. There we go. All right, I got it out. Right, but thank you, Big Game, for the super chat. And Big Game, I think her situation is a bit different because of her YouTube life, and from my understanding, she's also moving and shaking in the backgrounds, kind of with these kind of female organizations and whatnot. I've watched a couple of her interviews. Well, actually, one in particular that she did with the white woman a couple years back. So her situation might be a bit different, but your comment is still not lost on me. Yes, there are black women who think because they go to day parties and because they eat sushi and they drink mimosas and um somehow they're like uberly sophisticated now, and because they're white collar and they're making some 45, 48, um 53, all right, let's do it, $60,000 a year, right? Somehow they're just so much more sophisticated than their black male counterparts, and their black male counterparts just would never understand their lifestyle. And yeah, they're embarrassed to bring you a like. Who are these people, bro? Who are these people that are just so embarrassed to bring their blue collar black man who probably earns more than them out to Christmas parties and to different functions, right? And Namer says, "Drop the link." No, I have to jump off in a minute. I'm actually kind of being reckless right now, right? But yeah, so well, with Kim from For Harriet, as I said before, can't insult her intelligence, cannot insult her research. She's reading the book of Boys and Men by Richard Reeves. I like how she kind of ducked and dodged the fact that he pretty much spoke about how women like her bench men, um, bench a certain type of man. So yeah, yeah, right. Um, she mentions all the part where it says where the book speaks about how men need to work on men. She don't mention anything about how the system's screwing up men and women like her. But yeah, we're just gonna pretend like that didn't happen, right? So you know, as I said, she critiqued Passport Bros, pretending like she doesn't understand where Passport Bros is coming from. Um, tried to pretend like she cared about these other women in other communities and other environments. other nations. Um, attempted to essentially call white daddy government to investigate passport bros. That's why my title is what it is. She did the whole and throughout all both videos, she did the whole nasty nice, the petty thing, right? The petty queen thing, the nasty nice thing, the feigning concern for others that you really don't care about, right? And so yeah, calling white daddy government to investigate passport bros, that's a shit move, Kim. No, let's have some honest conversation. That is a shit move, Kim. All the critiquing you want to do, fine. But black women always reserve the right to call white daddy government on a black man. That's always y'all go to. Whenever y'all can't flex power, call the white man. And she said it kind of low key, like kind of in passing, like she was just saying it in jest. No, you weren't. So yeah, so there you go. Kim from Fort Harriet is asking white daddy government to investigate passport bros because these men have a power thing and they trying to flex power on these women when they bring them in the country, and you know these men are already abusive in these relationships with American women. So of course, when they're bringing these kind of these women from developing nations, they're you can't quit me. All that talk Kim is saying is doing all of that, and she's dating someone, from my understanding. But if her critique of passport bros, you can't quit me. Where you think you going? All that talk, you don't really care what passport bros do, huh? Yeah, BS. Now you calling white daddy government on black men? Kim, is that what you doing? Calling white daddy government on black men with passports? Hmm? Because you care about these other women so much? You damn near called them dusty feet, ma'am. You did say about how they're not on your level, how they're not playing the same game as you. Y'all are not even on the same field. Y'all not playing the same game. Those were your words, right? But you also care about them so much, and you really don't want these wayward black men to abuse these women from other parts of the world. Yeah, that's it. All that education, look at what it means at the end. Right? So, on that note, all right, y'all. Mr. Z, I will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Giving y'all about an hour. That's good, right? And, you know, yeah. All right, y'all. Once again, nothing new here. It is a little frightening to watch Kim pretty much call white daddy government on black men, though. That is a little frightening, to tell you the truth, right? But new, nah. And I'll truly pause right there. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. I think Art New Style should be on. Um, and yeah, y'all. So y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Black Manosphere content. So y'all don't sound like Kim from For Harriet, right? Yeah. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. Peace.